welcome to the first episode of 2026 for the JCMoseleyFC Podcast. Christian and I are here as always. Got a lot of football to talk through, a lot of big stuff that's happened over the last 6 weeks or so since we last talked. We have some drama, some big updates on the Champions League, and then we'll kind of talk through more of the World Cup groups like that we started last time as well. But it's going to be a good one.
Yes, so happy New Year to everyone. Thanks for joining us today for the first episode of the new year. We'll talk about amazing stuff like Elliot just said.
Yeah. Well, I think we have to start with the AFCON final. We obviously did in our last episode. We kind of did a preview of the Africa Cup of Nations. That was before any of it started, and then since then we had the final happened on Sunday, January the 18th, and it was a crazy game. If you didn't watch it, I unfortunately was not able to watch it live, but Christian and I and one of our other friends, we were texting about it, and I was following the updates, and it was pretty crazy. Why don't you? I'll let you kind of tell everybody what. Since you watched it, I'll let you tell everybody what happened.
Honestly, I've watched football my whole life, and I never had to deal with this. I've never seen this ever. At least not at this level. It felt like it was, it was like a city league game, to be honest. That just insane. So what happened? The game was going on. It was fine until about pretty much the 90th minute. Injury time, and then Senegal had a goal that was disallowed because Hakimi was pushed to the surface. Obviously, it's very questionable. I still think that the ref should have gone to the VAR, but apparently he blew his whistle before the ball went in the back of the net, so he couldn't recall VAR. So I think that was a very questionable call there. And then after that, what happened was that what's his name, Brahim Diaz got fouled in the surface, and then there was a penalty for Senegal. So he went to VAR and he saw it and he got a penalty. So in my opinion, again, everybody has an opinion about everything, right? Football is always like that about the referee decisions. I do believe that the goal should have stood for Hakimi because I don't really see foul there. I think it's two players going for the ball and Hakimi just slipped and fell. And remember, it was raining at that time in Rabat. So they were just like shoulder to shoulder. I don't see any foul play there. However, the one for also Brahim Diaz was a penalty, I think, in my opinion. Sure, he kind of pushed him off. It was kind of but it was kind of a little bit excessive push, right? So you can call those as a penalty. I understand that. So the only mistake from the referee was, I think, the Hakimi situation. However, mistakes happen even with VR, right? Mistakes happen. He could not go back to the VR because he blew the whistle. So those things happen, unfortunately, in football. Referees make mistakes. So I don't agree with Senegal's stance, what they did. That was very shameful. This is the African Competition final. Everybody watches it. First of all, people make fun of African AFCON all the time. People make so fun of our competition. And then you just give people more fuel to the fire, So I understand the frustration, but it's football. Like those people have been playing for years. They're professional players. They play for years, from the best leagues in the world. Those things can happen. You have to be fair play here and be like, okay, you know what, that happens. It sucks, and see what happens. Thankfully they came back, but it was a mess. It was a huge mess. They didn't show everything on camera, by the way, because apparently there was also some things behind the scenes where the Moroccan players would steal Edouard Mendy's how you call it, towels and stuff, because he was using it to dry his gloves because it was raining, right, in Rabat. So the actual players were stealing it from the players. So there was a lot of things behind the scenes. So what about you? I'm sure, obviously you haven't watched the game live.
Yeah,
but what did you see outside of that?
It seemed like there was a lot going on, and I did end up watching the highlights after the fact. And it felt like for the disallowed goal for Senegal, that was a bit harsh. I mean, Hakimi, I don't think he was fouled, to be honest. I think he just needs to stand I don't think that was enough to to foul him. So yeah, that goal probably should have stood. But like you said, these things happen. Referees make decisions, and you kind of have to deal with it. Um, and then it did seem like a little bit of a soft penalty as well. I mean, I think if it was me, I'd be disappointed if it wasn't given if I was a fan of Morocco, but I'd be understandably disappointed that it was given if I was a Senegal fan. So, it's one of those that I think could go either way. And then just I've never seen a coach tell his entire team to just leave the field in protest. And this is like you said, the occasion. It's a final of one of the biggest footballing competitions on the planet. Like this is the peak of African football, and um, it wasn't a good look. And I mean, you can understand why they're frustrated, but that's not a reason to tell everyone to just leave the field. And um, I again, I didn't see the game, but from some of what I was reading online, it did sound like there was potentially, and I know online can be very biased, but there was potentially a lot more calls in favor of Morocco. Like basically, the accusation was the referee was trying to match fix so that Morocco would win it. Um,
Yeah, I don't agree with it. I think the referee was actually really good. He made crucial mistakes in the morning time. I really think that that mistake, blowing the whistle before the goal, the ball ended in the back of the net, I think that was a major mistake. That was his only mistake of the game to me, right? Sure, there was some questionable calls. I mean, but that's just football, like some referees. I mean, I watch the Premier League all the time, especially when you're a Chelsea fan. You're like, you try to be neutral, but you're like, why is that? But it just happens.
yeah, well, it's
Just
refereeing.
like,
It's refereeing everywhere, and I think
yeah.
I think it's not so much about the decisions that surprised me. It was more about the reaction of the Senegal team to kind of leave the field in protest. And you just can't do that, regardless of whether the referee's decisions have been in your favor or not. If you think it's just or not, like that's just football. It happens.
Yeah, but there's
And
also a lot of backstory. I don't know if you know what happened too. So pretty much
yeah,
whenever the Senegalese team got to Rabat, right? They had to they were barely in security for them, so they were like surrounded by random fans, which is unacceptable, obviously. And then they were staying in a terrible hotel. They got transferred, and then they were playing a facility that like where the Moroccan team plays. They were gonna train there, and they said no, let just go somewhere else, because they were gonna be watched and stuff like that, and spied on. So I understand frustration. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, but still, you know, it sucks because a penalty is like there's an 80% chance that it's gonna score, maybe 75 with Edouard Mendy, but it's still like and it's the last kick of the game. I understand the frustration, but it still wasn't a reason to walk off the field. I was like, no, you can't do that. This is an African Cup of Nations. We try to want people to take our competition seriously, and this is what you guys do. Like this was kind of shameful, but at the end of the day, let's tell our listeners and our viewers that Senegal did win the game, 1-0. Pape Gay, what a goal! He started from the Senegalese side of the field, and they pushed the ball all the way. And then, guy, what a goal! That left foot. I don't know if you saw that goal. I'm sure you saw that goal.
did.
Like,
Hmm.
wow, like top bin. Like that was a great goal. And
It's
I think at the end of the day, to me, the better team won. The better team on the field won. However, I just wish that they didn't. Didn't happen like that.
yeah, the circumstances of it. Um, yeah, I think it was about 15 minutes that there was a delay in the match, and then the penalty. And I don't know why Brahim Diaz is trying to Panenka in that situation. By the way, like just put your foot through it. I don't know why you're trying to be clever, but um, I'll take nothing away from Pap Gay. That goal was spectacular, and it's a goal worthy of winning any final. I mean, it was a perfect strike. And I trust. I mean, like I said, I didn't really watch the game, but again, seeing the highlights, there's more chances for Senegal. I think they probably are a stronger team at the moment anyway. Um, so it sounds like all in all, it was the right outcome. But yeah, just a shame. I didn't realize there was other issues going on before the game as well. Actually, about the hotel and the lack of security and some of those things too. Yeah.
and I watched the replay of the Panenka, the shot. I mean, I am not a professional player, like as much as I don't think he should have done it, but like, I don't play for Real Madrid, so I don't think I really have a say in how he's gonna shoot the ball. But if you look at the Panenka, if it was well executed, if Mandy just guessed right, if you look at it, we've seen players like I'm sure 2006, Zinedine Zidane scored a Panenka in the final against Italy. We've seen Cole Palmer score Panenkas, Messi score Panenkas. So like, it's only whenever the player miss, it looks horrible. But imagine if he scored that, like it was like, imagine if he scored that. So I really think if I looked at the replay multiple times and I was like, he didn't just like, sure he should not try to pick Panenka because Mendy also is really good with Panenkas. I don't know if you obviously Mendy played for Chelsea. So
Mm,
he scored, he kept away some Panenka, and he's really good at penalty shooters actually, Mendy.
yeah. Well, I remember the one
So
against, I think it was Sergio Aguero for Manchester
yes,
City
girl,
playing for
yeah, exactly.
Chelsea, and it was a similar kind of thing. It was, it's one of those that if it went in the back of the net, no one says anything, but it didn't,
Mhm.
and Mendy didn't move, and it just looked like a complete horror show. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to talk briefly about the whole competition. Obviously, the whole competition was just the final. I don't know if you watched much of the games or much of the highlights.
So I saw some highlights. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So you see how we did a really good prediction because we said that the North African teams were going to go far, and then obviously we're going to have the big dogs really go pushing it. So obviously Morocco, I believe Morocco was going to win. They got close. They go to the final. That was very close. I think we both agreed on that too. And then
Yeah.
Egypt went to the semifinal, Algeria quarterfinals. I know Tunisia ended in round of 16, but we had really some strong showings from the North African teams like we predicted. And obviously the big dogs like Senegal, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Cameroon did a pretty good deep run. But yeah, I think overall it was a really good tournament. Nigeria really impressed. I'm so sad they're not going to the World Cup because they lost in penalties against Morocco in the semifinal. So I'm very, very upset about that. I wish they won the World Cup because you want the best teams representing African teams in the World Cup, but unfortunately not gonna make it. But Ivory Coast obviously very disappointed. Egypt will always lose to Egypt, man. Every time. Like I remember I was actually at the game, Egypt, Ivory Coast. And just remember one of the Ivorian supporters were like, we're kids, they beat us. We're growing up, they were beating us. Now we're all grown up and they're still beating us, and that's true. 2006, they beat us at the AFCON final. And they also beat us, in 2021, 2010, no, 2008, 2010, 2021, and now here again. So like every time we play against Egypt, we automatically going to lose. So I was hoping that this would be the time. But if you look at the game, we conceded crazy goals like from out of nowhere. I don't know what happened, but it was sad. Honestly, I was very sad
Yeah.
when we
It
lost.
was 3-2. I think it finished in the end,
Yeah,
right?
3-2.
So it
Yeah, it
was.
was. I was very sad when we lost.
Was it as close of a game as that scoreline suggested, or
Yes. I think that Ivory Coast we dominated the game from
mm,
like the beginning to the end. I'm not saying that because I'm from there, but like 70% possession the whole game. We dominated the game. We dominated Egypt. If you watch the game, like you would like be like, what's going on? It's like how whatever the commentators say, like it was like against the run of play kind of thing. It's like Ivory Coast dominated the game, creating chances, passing the ball, and then Egypt scores. And you're like, what? Where does that come from? That's how I was feeling the stadium. And then despite that, they kept coming back, and then eventually they were not able to come back. But hopefully we'll learn from it for the World Cup because I want to have a deeper in the World Cup. That'd be amazing for African football. I really support every single African team to have a deeper in the World Cup. So I just hope Ivory Coast is going to be one of them. But yeah, it was pretty good. But
yeah,
honestly, I
and
really love the tournament overall. The Morocco is one of the most developed countries in Africa, probably like top three. Very developed, the infrastructure amazing. Um, you know, like unfortunately in Africa, I mean, obviously the infrastructure is pretty good. it's better than a lot of people think, but it's not as developed as, Europe or the Western world. But Morocco is very advanced, compared to the rest of Africa. There are trains going places. The roads are really good. The hotels are pretty good. And also the stadiums were world class. I don't know if you watched the stadiums in Morocco, they were really good. So,
Yeah, look,
yeah, we
look
have to say
nice.
that.
Yeah, I think it was a great advert overall for African football, and I think it really shows how African football is advancing. Um, and I think like I'd never seen on social media people talking about an Africa Cup of Nations as much as I've seen people talking about this one,
Yeah.
even before the final and all of the incidents with the final. So um, yeah, I think it was great. Okay,
Oh,
let's.
one more thing. One
Yeah,
more thing
yeah,
before we move on. So, like, apparently the AFCON will be every 4 years now, starting in 2032. So it's 2028. So 2028 is going to be 2032 because before it was every 2 years. So what do you
yes.
briefly think about that? Do you think
Um,
it's a good idea or do you think it's
mm,
kind of shameful?
I mean, I think there's two sides to it. Obviously, there's the prestige of holding the title for 4 years instead of 2 years. um, and obviously with the number of games in the footballing calendar just increasing season on season, I think there's a benefit to the players, but at the same time, fans want to see it, and it's the best of the best. Um, it's a it's a great it's always a great tournament, and I don't know. I think ultimately, from a player welfare point of view, it would be a good thing. But I also would not. I wouldn't tell anyone not to feel disappointed if
Yeah,
you're disappointed about it.
definitely. I'm very disappointed because I think that every 4 years is kind of sad. I grew up watching every 2 years. It's exciting for us. It's like our small World Cup for us. It's like it's a very big deal for us in Africa. Yeah, I was lucky enough to be in Africa when I was going on this past year. I was in Morocco and also in Ivory Coast. So like I got to really experience people like how much people love football there. I mean, we live in the US, it's not the same. People don't really care about football here, like soccer here. But back in Africa, like even in Morocco, like whenever Morocco progressed to the semifinal, right? The whole country was celebrating. I swear to God, I couldn't sleep at that night. The people were honking, like celebrating, screaming everywhere, and I really love that. It was like, wow, this is how this sport is supposed to feel like, and it was a really good feeling. But it's kind of sad because us Africans we love the AFCON. Every 2 years we watch it. But I understand there's a lot of tournaments that FIFA introduced, and it's really hard to like keep up with it. And also players like playing in Europe, they have their contracts complicated because of like the owners don't want to give them long contracts because they have to go to the AFCON, and they also lose their starting position. They put the starting position at risk every time they miss out on the AFCON. So we'll see what happens. But honestly, it could be a good thing too because then it makes it even more valuable. Every 4 years, like automatically makes it more valuable. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm I'm glad that this year's tournament was a good one, and sounds like we'll still only have to wait 2 years until the next one, 2028. So
Mhm.
um, we won't know yet about the 4 year cycle, but yeah, cool. All right. Well, should we take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will talk about the World Cup.
Yeah.
Right, we're back, and we're going to talk about the remaining World Cup groups. So last time, for those that either didn't remember or didn't listen in, we talked through and previewed groups A to F of the World Cup group. So if you haven't heard that yet, go back and listen to that as well once you're done listening to this, or go listen to it now and then come back and join us here, or whatever you want to do. But make sure you listen to that because we did predict those groups. We're going to jump back into that again, do the rest of the groups. We're going to start with Group G. And Christian, why don't you kick us off with Group G?
So Group G, we have four teams, obviously: Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. So the first game will be Belgium and Egypt. This is a good game. Belgium, they haven't been the best lately. I don't even know what they're still doing in the top 10 in the world, to be honest. I don't know if they're still there anyways, but they are. I don't know. But I see Egypt got a draw here. I see a good 1-1. And then Iran and New Zealand, I do see a good. Phew, this is a kind of unpredictable here, but I want to go with a win for Iran, 1-0 for Iran.
Yeah. I think Belgium against Egypt to draw. I think I agree with you there. I think that's a fair result. I think 1-1, and then I think Iran will win 2-1 against New Zealand.
Okay, then now on June 21st, we're gonna have Belgium and Iran, and then we're gonna have New Zealand and Egypt. So Belgium and Iran, I do see a win from Belgium here, 2-0 for Belgium, and then I do see a win for Egypt here, 2-1.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you on the outcomes. I'm going to say 2-1 to Belgium against Iran, and I'm going to say 3-0 to Egypt against New Zealand.
Oh, Egypt. Okay, I'm kind of biased here, but it is Egypt and Iran. So I'm gonna go with a good win from Egypt, 2-0 for Egypt. And New Zealand and Belgium, I'm gonna go with a good 3-0 for Belgium.
Yeah. Agree with you. I think Egypt will beat Iran. I'm going to say 2-1. And I think Belgium will beat New Zealand. I'm going to say 3-0.
Okay, so for the table, I believe that Belgium will be top of the group, just by goal difference, I believe. And Egypt's gonna finish second, third Iran, and fourth New Zealand.
Yeah, I think New Zealand, great for New Zealand to qualify. I don't feel too optimistic about their chances, to be honest, but maybe I'll be wrong. I think Iran are a solid team, but Belgium and Egypt are just stronger. Yeah. Cool. So Group H is going to be Spain, Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay. With the first round of matches of that group being Spain against Cape Verde, then Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. Obviously, Cape Verde, one of the stories of this World Cup qualifying, small little island nation. First time, I think, for them qualifying for the World Cup. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. Cape Verde.
They're going to get destroyed by Spain, though. I'm sorry. I'm going to say 8-0.
Oh no, that's way too much, bro. No way. Cape Verde it's a pretty good team. You know, they made it to the quarterfinals of the round of AFCON in Ivory Coast 2023. And you know, they top a group where Cameroon was, and Cameroon is a big dog in Africa, you know. So okay, they might get destroyed, but not 8-0, bro. That's abuse there. I don't think so. I don't think so. But anyways, let's respect your opinion here. So 8-0.
I mean, maybe that's an exaggeration, but big win for Spain.
Okay.
And then I think Uruguay will beat Saudi Arabia. I think that will be close, maybe 1-0 to Uruguay.
Okay. So Spain, Cape Verde, I'm gonna say that Spain is gonna win a solid 3-0. And then Saudi Arabia, Uruguay, I want to take Uruguay here, 2-1 for Uruguay.
Spain against Saudi Arabia is the next match day, and then Uruguay against Cape Verde. Spain, I think they're going to win that one as well. I think they're going to win that one 3-1. I mean, I think Spain just have so many good attacking players.
Bro,
I can't see how they're not going to just dominate this group, honestly. But yeah, 3-1 to Spain for that one, and then I think Uruguay will beat Cape Verde 2-1.
yeah, so pretty much, yeah, I agree with you. Spain is just gonna like smash everybody in this group. Like, yeah, there's no chance, and they have a pretty easy group compared to all the other big teams, you know. So yeah, I see a good 2-0 for Spain here, and Uruguay. I'm gonna see them destroy Cape Verde again. A solid 3-0. Sorry, Cape Verde, but prove me wrong, guys. Prove me wrong, please.
All right. Well, this could be a chance for them because the final match day, Cape Verde against Saudi Arabia, and then Uruguay against Spain. I think, to be honest with you, I don't know too much about Cape Verde or Saudi Arabia, but my instinct is telling me both teams could get a draw here. I'm gonna say 2-2, um, and Cape Verde to get some points at this World Cup, or 1 point at least. And then Uruguay and Spain. I mean, I think if Spain win those first two games heavily, they'll rotate a lot of their team, but I think they'll still win. I'm going to say 2-0.
Yeah, so Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, as much as I love Cape Verde, it's a pretty good team, but those other teams have experience. And we both know that how tournaments experience matters than anything else for some reason, especially the World Cup. If you don't have experience, it's really hard to do anything. So I see Cape Verde not losing as bad, but I see a 2-0 loss here against Saudi Arabia. And Uruguay, Spain, I believe that Spain is going to beat Uruguay 2-0 as well. So top of the group, I see Spain, obviously. Second, Uruguay. Third, Saudi Arabia. And fourth, Cape Verde.
Okay, great. You want to take us through Group I?
What about the prediction for the table?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
no, I think Spain will comfortably finish top. I think Uruguay in second, and then based on my predictions, Saudi Arabia and Cape Verde will come down to goal difference. And I think because I think Cape Verde are going to let in a lot of goals, they'll finish last.
Okay, so you want to go to Group I? So that's the most interesting group, I think, of the group stage. Wow, we're gonna have a thrill, especially we don't know what I see. Let's see, path 2 for the UEFA that's gonna join.
This is
Oh,
for
there's a
the
pathway. Never mind. Okay.
for the Interconfederation. So
Okay.
France,
Yeah.
Senegal, Norway, and then it will be either Iraq, Bolivia, or Suriname.
Okay. No offense to any of those teams, but whoever joins this should just back to go home and I'm sorry because you guys have no chance against
Might as well
France,
not turn up.
La France, the Senegal, and Norway. And it's not just any Norway, it's not just like some Norway people. We have Erling Haaland, we have Odegaard, we have wow, what a team of talent. And also remember the top of the group above Italy. So wow, this
And
group, I'm gonna just watch it like crazy.
this group's
And
going
I
to
don't
be
know about you,
cinema.
Elliot, but I'm planning to take time off during this World Cup. I know it's crazy. Obviously, I won't be able to go to the games. They're gonna be extremely to all the games. I'm going to go to some games, but this thing, like, nobody better bother me whenever those games are going on because I will not answer my phone unless somebody is dying or something. I am not answering my phone. So France, Senegal. Woo! What a banger, bro. What a game. France, the former colonizers, against Senegal. Wow. Sadio Mane, Mbappe. I'm going to try not to be biased here. I want my team to win, but 2-1 France, unfortunately. I will say 2-1 France. I'll give it to France. I love Senegal. Don't worry, guys. You still go through the group, but France is just prove me wrong. If they beat France, I'm going to be so happy, but I see a win from France here, 2-1. What about you, Elliot?
I mean, it's a tough one to predict. I think it's going to be a great game. I think France probably will have to be the favorites. I feel like this could be a high scoring one. I'm going to say 3-2 to France.
Yep. Okay, now Norway against IC Path 2 is like one of those teams, Iraq, Suriname, one of those countries. Sorry, no offense to you guys. As I said, you should pack your bags. And I know it's mean, but I'm just being honest. Norway's going to trash whichever team is there. 3-0, 2 goals from Holland.
Yeah.
3-0.
I think I agree with you. I think 3-0. I think it's a very comfortable win there for Norway.
Okay, now France and IC Path 2. France, 4-0. And then I want to see Senegal. Oh, I feel Senegal. I know this is going to sound biased here, but I'm going to see Senegal winning this game. A good 2-1 for Senegal against Norway.
Okay. Yeah, I think the France will win that second game comfortably against whoever's in that intercontinental path spot. 3-0, I'm going to say. Yeah, Norway, Senegal, man, that's a tough one. I think both teams are great, but I think what Senegal have that Norway don't, and we've talked about it already, is experience. And I think that's what's going to get them through. I'm going to agree with you and say 1-0 to Senegal. I think Senegal's going to win that one.
Now we're going to do Norway and France. So I see a good draw here, 2-2.
Yeah. Mbappe versus Holland. Hey, that's
Mhm.
gonna be it's gonna be cinema. um, I'm gonna give it 2-1 to France. Again, maybe based on experience. Um, but it's gonna be close.
Okay, Senegal and I see path 2. I'm gonna see a good win from Senegal here, 2-0
Yeah. Um, I'll say 3-1 to Senegal.
for Senegal. Okay, so now
Agree with you.
the group. So I'm gonna say France, top in the group. They would have 7 points here. And I do see Senegal finishing. Oh, wait, let me make sure I got it right. Yeah, because Senegal. Yep, I see Senegal finishing second, and then the third team will be Norway, and the last team will be IC Path too.
Yeah. Nope, I agree with that. I think I predicted France to win all three of theirs, so they top on 9 points out of nine. And then Senegal, Norway. I think Norway, depending on how they do in that first game against the Intercontinental Path 2 winner, if it comes down to goal difference for the best third place team, I think they could be one of those best third place teams and go through. But I do think they'll finish third, and then I think either Iraq, Bolivia, or Suriname, whichever one of those three makes it, will finish fourth and probably at this point just be there for the vibes.
Yep. I mean, they made it to the World Cup. They're gonna be very proud to be there,
Yeah,
the top
definitely.
stage. So Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. No offense to this group, but I won't really pay much attention to this group. I really see uh, Argentina just walking away with everything here. A solid 2-0 to Algeria, and unfortunately for Algeria. And then Austria, Jordan, Austria winning a solid 2-0 too.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Argentina. This is probably going to be Messi's last World Cup. Uh, I think they'll be really up for it. I'm going to say 2-1 to Argentina in that first game, and then yeah, Austria against Jordan. I think Austria could win that one 3-0. European bias, I'm sure, but I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, Austria is a good team, and yeah. So Argentina and Austria, that's a good game, but I'm gonna see Argentina winning 2-1 here, and then Jordan, Algeria, Africans are gonna win those games 2-0 for Algeria.
Okay. I'm gonna say Argentina and Austria is actually gonna be a 2-2 draw. I'm gonna give that one a draw. I don't know why. I feel like Argentina in the group stages sometimes can have those games where they kind of just about get a result, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be different this year, but I'm sticking with it. I'm gonna say 2-2. And then yeah, I think Algeria will beat Jordan fairly comfortably. I think 3-1.
On Algeria and Austria, I'm gonna see a draw here, 2-2. And then Argentina, Jordan, I think Argentina is probably gonna rotate a little bit, so it might be a 2-0, a modest 2-0 against Jordan.
Yeah. No, I actually agree with you there. I think Algeria and Austria will be a draw. I'll say 1-1 just to have a different prediction than you. um,
Mhm.
and I think Argentina will beat Jordan. I'm going to say 1-0, just because I think, like you said, they'll probably rotate a little bit. Um, yeah, so for my table, then I guess that puts Argentina top, then Austria in second, Algeria in third, and Jordan in fourth.
Yeah, same here. I think it's gonna be very close between Algeria and Austria. Hopefully Algeria goes through, but my prediction, if I were to put my money on it, I'll be Argentina, um, Austria, Algeria, and then Jordan. I really think Algeria is definitely gonna go to the next round as one of the best 30 place teams.
Yeah. Okay, Group K, we have Portugal. We have the Interconfederation Playoff Pathway 1 winner, which would be either DR Congo, Jamaica, or New Caledonia. And then the other two teams in that group, Uzbekistan and Colombia. So the first game, and this again, just like with Argentina, this will probably be Ronaldo's last World Cup as well. Um, a last chance to see both of those two players play on the big stage is what we would guess. Um, so again, I think they'll be up for it. They're playing against the Intercontinental Path 1 winners. I do think it could depend. I feel like DR Congo are a pretty strong team
Yeah,
as
it's a
far
good
as
team.
African teams go. And am I right in saying they had a
Hmm.
pretty good run in the AFCON as well?
Yeah, they went to the quarterfinals and they
Yeah.
lost. Trying to remember what team they lost to. Actually, they were in the round of 16, but they lost to a really big team. But Ryako is a really good team. You know, they topped the group against. They were just second behind Senegal in the qualifiers, and then they lost. They beat Nigeria, Cameroon, and Nigeria to make it to the Intercontinental World Cup. So like, it's not a team to play a mess about. I think they should be able to win that game. I'm hoping they have 10 teams from Africa. That would be historic and amazing for Africa. That'd be amazing. I would love that to happen. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
So I think either way, regardless of who the opponent is, I mean, I think if it's Jamaica or New Caledonia,
Hmm.
no disrespect to either of those teams, but I think Portugal will just be too strong.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I predict a bigger win for Portugal if it was one of those two teams. If it's DR Congo, I'd say it's maybe a bit closer, but I'll give it to Portugal. We'll go 2-0 to Portugal just to average it out. Um, and then Uzbekistan against Colombia is going to be an easy win for Colombia, I think. I think they're going to win that one 2-0.
Yeah, I see Portugal winning this 3-1 against whichever team makes it there, and Colombia too, 3-0. I agree.
All right. Portugal against Uzbekistan, and then Colombia versus the playoff path winner. Portugal are gonna trash Uzbekistan, I think, to be quite honest with you. I'm gonna say 5-1.
Hmm.
Um, Colombia, I think Colombia will beat again. That's a tough one because if it's DR Congo that's in that spot, I think that could be a draw, or maybe even a win for DR Congo. Honestly, um, Colombia, I know Colombia are a very strong team. You know what? I'll give it to Colombia 2-1,
Hmm.
regardless of who they're playing.
Yeah, Portugal, Uzbekistan, that's going to be a good 4-0. Yeah, double from Ronaldo. He's going to try to get his tally of goals, in the competition. And then we're going to have Colombia. I see path 2, path 1. I'm gonna go with Colombia. So much I would love DR Congo to win anything. Colombia is just too strong. They have a really good team. A good 2-0 for Colombia.
Okay. And then this will be the big one: Colombia against Portugal on that final match day, and the playoff winner versus Uzbekistan. Whew, well, you know what? We both have said that Colombia and Portugal will win their opening two games, so they probably will both have qualified at that point.
Yeah.
Um, I think they're going to play out a draw. I'm going to say 1-1. I think they'll maybe rotate a little bit, and there won't be as
Hmm.
much on the line for either of them. So 1-1, and then the Intercontinental Path playoff winner against Uzbekistan. I genuinely have no clue. 1-1.
All right, I'm gonna go for Colombia, Portugal, 2-2, right? And then I think DR Congo is gonna win this game against Uzbekistan 2-1. So for my table, Portugal, Colombia, DR Congo, Uzbekistan. However, I don't see any of those teams going to the next round. I think 3 points for Congo is not going to be enough to go to the next round, unfortunately. That'll be my prediction.
Yeah, I yeah, I'd say Portugal top from goal difference, Colombia second, and then they'd both finish on 1 point. I see path winner in Uzbekistan in my prediction. So we come down to
Hmm.
goal difference, I guess.
Hmm.
DL Congo, Jamaica, or New Caledonia third, and Uzbekistan fourth. And I'm sorry if I'm underestimating the Uzbekistan team.
Yeah, we don't really know much about
I don't know too
Uzbekistan, to
much
be
about them,
honest.
but looking
Yeah.
forward to uh, seeing them play. And then
Hmm.
we are on to our final group, Group L, and this is the one I will be paying the most amount of attention to. It's England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. Um,
A. Croatia, Ghana, Panama. Sorry, something I just noticed. Just funny.
you're right. I didn't even
Yeah.
pick up on that before either. Um, So the first match, England will play against Croatia, repeat of the 2018 semi-final. Um, and then Ghana will play against Panama. I'm going to back England, but they're not going to make it easy for me. It's going to be a 1-0 win for England against Croatia. And then I think Ghana are going to beat Panama 2-1.
Yes, so I want to go England winning this game. That's going to be very tight. So I'm going to say 2-1. It's a pretty safe score. And Ghana 2-0 against Panama. I think Ghana's going to win this one.
Yeah. Okay. Next match day will be England against Ghana and Panama against Croatia. You know what? The bias is going to come through. I've got to back
It's
my
okay.
boys.
It's all right.
England's going to win 2-0, I'm going to say.
It's okay.
And then Panama against Croatia, I think that could be a bit more of a difficult game for Croatia than they expect, but they're going to win that one
No.
2-0.
Sorry.
You don't think so?
Sorry. I am so. I'm sorry to listeners, guys. If you're from Panama, if you're listening to this, I know. Sorry, I respect everyone's country, but I'm sorry, but you don't remember how England trashed Panama back in the day, like in 2018?
Well, yeah, 6-1.
Like they have no chance against Croatia. No offense to Panama, like should they have a good team, but like no. I don't think it's gonna be 6-1. I think it's gonna be like 3-0 for Croatia here. Ghana, England. For some reason, England really struggle against an African team. I think that'll be the surprise of the tournament. It'll just be a little scare for England, but they'll come back from this. I'm gonna say a good 2-2 here. Ghana is gonna do some magic. Ghana does really well at every World Cup, so I'm gonna see them getting me a point here against England. 2-2.
Okay. And then the final match day, Panama against England, Croatia against Ghana. Well, again, I've got to back my team. I mean, I just have to.
I'm so
And I
mean. I'm
think
sorry, guys.
I do think this should be it. I mean, it really should be a comfortable win for England.
Not
I
just a
think
comfortable win, Elliot.
we should probably win this 4-0 at minimum. I'm going to say 4-0 just to be pragmatic. And then Croatia against Ghana, I think I think that could be a draw. I think that could end 1-1.
So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you here. A 5-0 for England here. After the upset against Ghana, they're gonna be pissed off. They're gonna be like, you know what? We are England. We're not playing anymore. We're gonna beat everybody, and we're gonna win this World Cup. So I'm not saying they're gonna win the World Cup. I'm just saying they're gonna be really pissed off and they're gonna be like 5-0 against Panama and Croatia and Ghana. Okay, the bias is to get out. 1-0 Croatia, unfortunately, for Ghana. So top of the group, mighty England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama. That'd be my guess.
Yeah. And then I think I have England obviously top, Croatia and Ghana on the same amount of points. I think it really could come down to goal difference. I'll put Croatia in second, Ghana third, and Panama fourth. But I do think Ghana could be one of those teams that gets enough to qualify as a third place team.
Okay. Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think so too. I think Ghana's gonna be third place team. But yeah, we predicted the groups of all the groups in the World Cup. It's gonna be amazing, Elliot. Obviously, we're gonna try to catch some games. I know they're extremely expensive for some reason. Very disappointed about that, by the way. I know we talked about it in the past episode how it's become a rich people sport now, which is insane because football has always been a popular people sport. I was mentioning how you don't really see lawyer. I mean, I'm not saying that there's no lawyer that loves football, but like if you go at the Champions League, games, when I was there, I just saw people that were like, you know, not saying normal people, but I'm just saying that didn't like, they were not CEOs or anything like that. They were just regular people like that love the sport. And, you know, it's a popular. What I'm trying to say is that it's not a rich people sport. Like why are you gonna charge $6,000 to go watch a game final? Makes no sense. $6,000 is a lot of money. Some people don't even make it out in a year. Um, it's insane to me that how people can just I just hope that it's just because the US team, because everything here in the US is expensive and they know people in the US have money, US dollar, whatever. But I hope that they're gonna that whenever they go to Morocco, Spain, and Portugal in the next, they're not going to charge the same prices because I don't think they're going to get away with it. Europeans are not going to stand for that. No way.
I agree. Yeah, so next time, I guess we can predict the round of 16 games based on our predictions. We'll have to look back and make sure we have everything correct as we have it predicted. But we'll try to kind of do a preview of those games as well and see where we think those are going to end up. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about the Champions League.
We want to thank our sponsor, Bill's Treasury app. Bill's Treasury app is an application that allows people to track, manage, and pay the bills in one location. So simple to use, it's free to download. You're able to add your bills on the application. You get reminders when they are due, and then you just stay on top of them. It allows you to better manage your finances and improve your credit score significantly. It's available on the App Store and Google Play for free. You can download with a QR code that you see on your screen for free. So we want to thank Bill's Treasury app for the sponsorship.
Well, the Champions League group stage, or I guess league phase is what we call it now, wrapped up this last week as we're recording, and we had some pretty interesting finishes to some of the games. We'll talk about those. We'll take a look at the final table here as well. So again, just as a reminder, the top 8 in the table, they qualify for the round of 16 automatically under this new format. And then the teams in 9th through until 24th place, they are entered into the knockout phase playoff rounds. And then all the teams finishing below 24th are eliminated from the competition. So that's kind of how that works with the format for those that don't know or don't remember. And in that top 8, we have Arsenal, who won all 8 of their games. They finished on 24 points. Bayern Munich, who won 7 of their 8 games. And then we have Liverpool, Tottenham, Barcelona, squeaked in there on the final day. Chelsea managed to secure a top 8 spot. Sporting, which was impressive, and Manchester City as well, rounding out that top 8.
And obviously, you can see on your screen for our viewers, Real Madrid finished 9th, and then PSG, Inter 10th and 11th respectively. And however, Benfica finished 24th, closed down the line, and Marseille barely escaped, barely lost. And we're going to obviously talk about this, why they didn't make it to the round of 32. Benfica and Marseille had the same amount of points, as well as Paphos and then Union Saint, let me see how you said it.
Union Saint-Gilloise.
Union Saint-Gilloise. So, and then obviously bottom of the group is Kairat. And yeah, so pretty much it was very competitive, honestly, Elliot, those games, I think.
I think another win for the new format, to be honest. I think going into that final day, there was a lot of teams that their fate was still to be determined. If I'm correct, I think of the teams that finished in the top 8, Chelsea, Barcelona, Sporting, and Man City, I think all started that final match day outside the top 8. And Real Madrid, Inter, PSG, Newcastle, even Juventus and Atletico Madrid, Atalanta, they kind of all had a chance based on, some of them needed to rely on other results going their way, but a lot of those teams had the chance to be in that top 8, and it changed a lot throughout the night. You want to talk about Chelsea first?
Of course, Chelsea.
Playing against Napoli, that was a must-win game for Chelsea. We had dropped some points earlier on in the league phase and needed to win our final 2 games. We beat Paphos last week, and then this week we managed to beat Napoli, coming back from 2-1 down to win 3-2. And that was significant because Napoli, of course, champions of Italy last season, they needed a win just to stay in the competition, to have a chance of staying in the competition, not just the top 8, but the knockout places in general. They actually ended up finishing in 30th place out of 36, Napoli. Only 2 wins in the whole of that league phase, which is surprising.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did they lose 8 times or they just drew quite a bit of times?
They won twice, they drew twice, and they lost 4.
Wow,
They
that's
finished
a
on 8
terrible record for
points.
sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting them to be that low on the table, and also I was honestly expecting us to how you call it. I thought it was gonna be a tougher game. I mean, it was a tough game to be honest, but I feel like and it's always Chelsea football. We put ourselves in the bad situation. If you look at the game, even in the neutral point of view, if you look at every single game with Chelsea, and I'm saying every single game, there's not a game where, necessarily the team was so much better than us. I mean, I watched pretty much all the games this season. We put ourselves in this situation. So either a mistake from the back, or we just miss so many chances. We just put ourselves in terrible situations. And that's kind of what happened against Napoli. We kind of dominated the game pretty much. And thankfully we came back, drew, and then João Pedro scored another one for us to win. But I feel like, again, we put ourselves in this situation again. But other than that, I mean, that's a good credit to the new coach. I was kind of really worried because obviously I think we're going to talk about a little bit when we talk about around the leagues with Chelsea. But it was a young manager. But he's done a really good job at Strasbourg. Strasbourg. So he's done a really good job there. So I think this is why he got a job. And I hope that he can take us far. I mean, why not? Remember last time it kind of happened. We changed a manager mid-season like that. We won the Champions League. So imagine if we win the Champions League, like, wow, that'd be amazing. And you have to believe. And hopefully we can.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to talk about Sporting? They were one that had a couple of good results on the last 2 match days. They beat PSG, and then they beat Athletic Club to secure their spot in the top 8, which for them I think is, really impressive. I wouldn't have predicted that ahead of this league phase, to be honest. So great for them. Manchester City, just about scraping through. They had some games where they dropped some points, but they made it in the end by winning their final game of the season. But once we get down into these knockout phase playoff places, it's where things start to get interesting. So let's talk about Real Madrid and Real Madrid's final game of this group stage. I think they were in the top 8 going into this final round of games. They were playing against Benfica, Jose Mourinho's Benfica, who Benfica needed to win to even give themselves a chance to stay in the competition. And this was one of those games where you just go, this is why we love football. It was insane. Obviously, so Real Madrid, I think Real Madrid went 1-0 up. And then Benfica equalized, and then I think Benfica got it up to 3-1 potentially.
Yes,
I could be wrong about that. And then Real Madrid got one back to make it 3-2. And at that point, because of goal difference, especially towards the end of the game, Benfica needed another goal to go ahead of Marseille on goal difference. So Marseille won. I think Marseille won their final game, which they needed to do. And that the full-time whistle went in that game. They were in 24th place. They just about made it. The only way they were going to be eliminated was if Benfica scored again. And then Real Madrid just kind of had a complete head loss, really. They had 2 players sent off late in the game, both second yellow cards, both for just ill discipline, just losing their heads, really. So for the last few minutes, already the last minute or 2 of that game, Benfica were playing against 9 men from Real Madrid. Benfica, with pretty much the last action of the game had a free kick, kind of midway into Real Madrid's half. Everybody went up, including the goalkeeper. The fantastic cross into the box, and complete box office. The goalkeeper gets his head to it, and it's in the back of the net, and everyone's going crazy. It's 4-2, and Benfica have not only got themselves a pretty significant, like a pretty big win against Real Madrid. I mean, to beat Real Madrid in the Champions League is an achievement in and of itself. To win 4-2 and secure their place in the playoff rounds at the expense of Marseille. Crazy game. What did you make of it all?
I didn't watch the game, but I did watch the highlights, obviously, and I believe that was a really crazy game. To be honest, that was an insane game. And then I was telling you earlier, this is why we love football so much. This is why football is gonna be an amazing sport, and I'm so lucky that I got to grow up watching it, and I want to spend the rest of my life watching it and loving it and going to games. So, wow. I don't know what to say. It's like, when you see Real Madrid Benfica, you obviously think Benfica is going to walk over Madrid. It was actually a close game when you think about it. It was 3-2 until the 90th minute. And then, it was like, for some reason, Real Madrid got 2 red cards in the game. And, Real Madrid, they have a lot of problems with discipline and everything, because now it's going to hurt them in the next round. They lost Rodrigo now for the next round, the first game of the race, or at least. So it's really bad for them. So pretty much what happened is that the goalkeeper got moved, like you were saying, got moved up, and then he headed the goal. And, we both know how extremely rare. That's a 1 in a billion years that a goalkeeper scores a goal. And wow, what a way to do it. It's the significance of the goal is so amazing. Nobody was expecting this, and you qualify your team to the next round. It's beautiful. Like when you watch, and it was Jose Mourinho, like this guy, whatever he does is, wow. I just had chills when I watched the highlights. I was like, wow, and the whole stadium was great. There's no other sports in the world that gives you that feeling. And, I'm not like talking badly about any other sport, but football is just, when a goal happens like this, unexpected by the goalkeeper, the whole stadium, wow, you cannot repeat that in any other sport, bro. So what a feeling. Honestly, I was really happy to see that.
That's crazy. I mean, I was lucky enough to, I was watching the Chelsea match that finished, and then I was lucky enough they kind of switched over to coverage of that game, because it was the last game that was going. I mean, it was the latest one in terms of the most amount of stoppage time. And so I did see it live, and I saw the goalkeeper just running off to celebrate, and I was just like, I cannot believe what I'm watching right now. It was crazy. But yeah, so great for Benfica. Not so great for Real Madrid. They're going to have to go through the playoffs. Also, PSG going to have to go through the playoffs again. Obviously they won the competition last season after coming through the playoffs, but they're going to have to do it again this year if they want to win.
They're playing against a French team, Monaco. Yeah, that should be easy for them to beat everybody in France anyways.
Yeah. And also Inter, Juventus, Atalanta, 3 of the Italian teams in that knockout phase there.
So you want to go through the games? Yep.
Yeah. Newcastle as well. And then, I mean, really, I was going to say, looking at the people that qualified, the only one that's really surprisingly more than any, well, there's 2. Karabag and Bodo Glimt, both of them getting into the knockout rounds and the playoffs. Great for both of those teams.
I think they really benefited from the draw we gave them at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the rest of them, they deserve it, obviously.
Yes, let's take a look at the knockout phase games that are going to be happening. So, like you mentioned, we have Monaco against PSG. So they'll play each other in a 2-leg playoff, each of them having a home game. We have Galatasaray against Juventus. We have a repeat of Benfica against Real Madrid. So we get to see that again, which would be great. We have Borussia Dortmund against Atalanta. We have Karabag against Newcastle. Club Brugge against Atletico Madrid. Bodo Glimt against Inter Milan, and then Olympiacos against Bayer Leverkusen. So who do we think is going to win win out of the remaining playoffs?
Okay, so I believe that I see a Juventus beating Galatasaray. I see Dortmund beating Atalanta. I see PSG beating Monaco. Real Madrid definitely going through Benfica. Newcastle passing Karabag. Leverkusen passing Olympiacos. Inter beating Bodo. And then Atletico, very close. So I really believe there won't be any surprises here. I see the big teams going through. I mean, Atalanta and Juventus. I mean, I want to say that no, Atalanta and Dortmund. I want to say Dortmund because Dortmund they have experience. They always go through. They go quite far in the competition. So that's why I'm gonna predict that. But there's no surprise here for me.
Yeah, I don't think there'll really be any big surprises here either. I do think PSG will win that one pretty easily. I think Galatasaray could. I mean, Galatasaray have a lot of players that, I mean, yeah, they're, maybe past their prime, but have played in the Premier League or have played in Bundesliga or, they have some pretty well-known, well-recognized players. Victor Osimhen, Leroy Sané, Ilkay Gundogan. They've got some players that have won some significant trophies. That being said, I still think Juventus will be too strong for them. Benfica against Real Madrid, I would love to see Jose knock Real Madrid out of the Champions League in this stage, but it's not going to happen. It just isn't going to happen. Real Madrid are going to win that one. Yeah, I agree with you. Dortmund will beat Atalanta. I think Newcastle will beat Karabag fairly easily. Atletico will beat Club Brugge. Inter will beat Bodo, and I think Leverkusen will beat Olympiacos as well. After that's happened, there'll be another draw to find out who those teams will be playing in the round of 16. And hopefully by the time we do our next recording, we will know the outcome of all of those, and we'll know what's happening. So
absolutely
interesting things to come in the Champions League. I think out of all of those ties, which one would you say you're looking forward to as the one that would be the most interesting?
The one that would be the most interesting, I think, is PSG Monaco. Two French teams. I think Monaco actually has a good chance because PSG hasn't been the best defense this year. And obviously, they're still a dangerous team, but I think that if Monaco pulls this off, I mean, that'd be great because we can potentially play them. If whoever beats this, win this game, is either gonna be Monaco, PSG, or Newcastle, their opponent. So I'm hoping that either Monaco can beat PSG, obviously, but I think that's gonna be the game I want to be watching. It's gonna be very interesting. What about you, Elliot? Do you have any good game?
I do think that one will be a good one. Again, I don't know why, but I think Galatasaray against Juventus could be better than maybe people give it credit for. But just after what happened in the last time they met, Benfica against Real Madrid, I think, is going to be the one to pay attention to a little bit more, especially as Real Madrid will be without some key players in that first leg with suspension. But yeah,
all right, let's take a quick break.
It's going to be great. Yeah, we'll take a break and then we'll go around the leagues. Okay, welcome back. We are going to go around the leagues and we're going to start with the Premier League. Christian, you want to tell us what's going on in the Premier League right now?
So the Prem is dominated by Arsenal. I think they've been first for the past 3 or 4 months already now. They've been dominating. They had the highest, 9 points, something like that, and now they have 4 points before trading. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it ends up. I'm gonna assume they're gonna battle it again. To be honest, that's what I'm predicting. Yeah. So City has been behind them for a while. Aston Villa third. Aston Villa, they've been doing really, really good this year. Actually, 46 points with Manchester City. They only lost 5 times, drew 4 times, they won 14 times, which is insane. United, which is wow. They were one of the last teams last season, and now they're 4th. Surprisingly, they got rid of the manager. Doesn't make any sense. But apparently, Michael Carrick has been doing a good job because he beat Arsenal and Liverpool.
City.
Arsenal and City, which is insane. And then Chelsea, we lost our coach. We replaced him with another one, and then we have 37 points. I think we are still in a race for the Champions League, which is the most important. Unfortunately, I don't see Chelsea going further than the Champions League spot here. Apparently, the top 5 will be in the Champions League because of what happened in the Champions League this season so far. The 5 teams that qualified are through as top 8 teams. So, as long as we finish top 5, we should be in the Champions League, which is the most important at this point. And Liverpool, which I remember that was our prediction at the beginning of the year. Terrible prediction, by the way, Elliot. I can't believe that, but I guess we're humans, we make mistakes. So Liverpool, 6.
I mean, Liverpool spent a lot of money. I think that's why we backed them, because they spent a lot of money, and they spent a lot of money on good players. But it's just not come together for them this season. I'm not really too sure exactly where that is. I mean, Mohamed Salah's not quite been at his best. There's been some issues between fans and the coach, I think, and their opinion of Arne Slot's changing a little bit from what I hear. But they're still very much in that race for the top 4, top 5 as well. It'll be it's just surprising with the fact that they kind of walked to the title last year, but struggling this year. I mean, Arsenal, yes, they're top, but we're seeing what we've seen with them before, and I'm trying to take the bias out of this. I'm just not sure that they have what it takes to see this out. They are still lacking a goal scorer to get them goals up front. I mean, they brought in Victor Gyökeres. I think he has maybe 5 or 6 goals, something like that. He's not really set the league alight. Bukayo Saka's really not producing much. They're very, very reliant on set pieces and recently owned goals to get their goals in games. So I don't know if that's sustainable over the course of an entire season. They could still prove me wrong, and I think their squad depth is better than it's been. Obviously, like we said, they've done great in Europe, but I don't know. Man City and Aston Villa really snapping at their heels there a little bit. They're very close behind. I think Aston Villa have been great, especially when you consider Aston Villa didn't win their first game of the season until September, and now they're up in 3rd. Chelsea as well, like you mentioned. I mean, change of coach was not something I was very thrilled about, but so far, Liam Roseni has been doing well. Long may it continue, I guess.
So just a quick prediction, Elliot. Who do you think is going to win the league as of right now?
If I had to put money on it, I think Man City will win the league.
I'm going to go with Aston Villa. I think that'd be great. I'm tired of City winning the league every year. Obviously, I definitely don't want United to win, but definitely don't want Arsenal.
I would love to see Villa win.
So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna tell you that I really don't see Chelsea or City, United coming back from this to win the league. It could be it's still possible mathematically, but I don't see that happening. But I hope that Aston Villa wins. If Aston Villa doesn't win, City, then Arsenal. But definitely not Arsenal, because I just want to keep making fun of them,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I and again, it's a pattern that I think we've seen with them over the last few years. Is they are a very strong team. They start strong defensively. They're very good, but they just don't quite have that attack that's going to get them across the line over the course of a season, and they've not spent very well in that aspect. Yeah, I think Arsenal, they could. This year, I feel like is the first year I've felt like there's more of a chance than there's ever been that they could win the league, but I still don't see it happening just based on their lack of goal threat, personally. But you're going to say something about Patrice Evra, I think, and his quote.
He was saying that Arsenal is like a Netflix, show. So you always have to win until next year. So
wait for the next
You
season.
have to wait till
Yeah.
the next season. You have to wait till next season. But anyways, let's move to Ligue 1.
I was going to say
McDonald's.
one more thing
Yeah.
about the Premier League that I was just going to quickly point out. Well, two things. First of all, my prediction at the beginning of the season that Brentford would struggle has been terrible. So complete lack of ball knowledge from me on that one. And Tottenham. I mean, Tottenham finishing in the top 4 in the Champions League, but they're currently 14th. They're only 8 points off of the relegation zone.
That's insane.
Worrying for them, and they have a new coach as well, who's really not done well in the league. So that's a little bit of a surprise to me. But yeah, that's that. Liga.
La Liga McDonald's. Yes. So yeah, as I told you, PSG is really not dominating the league, but even though they have a game in hand, they have 45 points and Lens 46 points. So, obviously we're kind of tired of seeing PSG win every year. So if a different team can win it, that would be great. Marseille is 3rd and Lyon is 4th. And then bottom, Monaco is actually surprising in mid-table, so 10th. So if they beat PSG somehow by some miracle, I think we should be able to beat them. And Auxerre is 17th and 18th in Metz.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, really, the only surprise to me there, Marseille doing so well domestically and not doing well in the Champions League. I think they have a much better team than their Champions League run has suggested. And I'd love to see FC Lens win the league this year. I mean, it'd be great to see a team other than PSG win it. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Obviously, as a Chelsea fan too, I do kind of keep an eye on Strasbourg a little bit, just because it's the same ownership group and there's a lot of our players there on loan, and obviously our current manager was the manager there before, so they're sitting in 7th right now. But yeah, really, you would expect PSG to win their game in hand and go back top, and same old story. You want to move on to the next league?
La Liga. So La Liga is actually very competitive this year. Real Madrid, Barcelona. Real Madrid has 52 points. Barcelona has 52 points. Real Madrid has 51 points. Atletico 3rd with 44 points. And then, so I believe that it's going to be the same story in North La Liga, but it's going to be either between Barcelona and Real Madrid. And then, bottom of the league, Sevilla has been struggling. I haven't seen them in any European competition the past 2 or 3 years, which is kind of sad. Mallorca is 18th, Levante 19th, and Oviedo 20th. So
yeah, well,
I mean, there's not really any surprises here for La Liga, unfortunately.
Yes, I mean, Sevilla, Athletic Club, Valencia, they're kind of further down the table than we've seen them previously. Villarreal, I think, have done great so far domestically this season to be in 4th. Again, that's another one that they struggled in the Champions League. I think they only got 1 point in the Champions League league phase, but they are currently sitting in 4th with quite a comfortable lead in the Liga. But yeah, the title race, as it seems to always be, is between Barcelona, Real Madrid, and I think this year it could be a really close one. It could go, it will go down to the last few games.
Okay, now Serie A. Serie A is actually, from the last time we saw it, it's actually coming to something like Inter is running away with the title, 52 points above AC Milan, 47 points. Roma, 43 points, and Napoli, they've been struggling, like they won the league last season, and now they're really struggling this year. They're still top 4, but Juventus is right behind them, as well as Como, which is actually the revelation of the whole tournament. I don't know if you know the story of Como. It's coached by a certain Czech
Fabregas.
Fabregas. They were actually in the Serie B, which is the league under the Serie A. And for some reason, they are 6th right now. So imagine them in one of the European competitions next season. That'd be really great. And actually have 40 points. That's actually very impressive, Elliot, when you think about it. 40 points. Wow.
They've been really good this season. They've been really good since Cesc Fabregas took over. I think he's going to be in one of the big top jobs at some point in the future. I think he'll be a great coach.
And then bottom of the league, we have Fiorentina 17 points, Verona 14, and Pisa 14 points.
Yeah, Fiorentina have a much better squad than that. I mean, they're 1 point behind, so they're still in with a chance of not being relegated. But that to me is probably the biggest surprise. Yeah, Inter kind of opened up a nice, comfortable lead at the top there, and I honestly I see them probably winning the title this year.
Yeah. And now we're going to move to La Liga Portugal. So Liga Portugal is about the same. We have 55 points. For Porto, leading Sporting with 48 points. Benfica 45 points. I think Benfica, I don't see them coming back from this. I think they're gonna probably try to push for Champions League spot at this point. But I do see Porto pretty much running away with the 7 points, 19 games played. It's only 18 league team league. I really don't see much going on here. But anyways, the teams in the bottom, Tondela and AVS.
Yeah, not too many surprises, really. But Porto have had a good resurgence since struggling a little bit the last couple of seasons. They're back up there, and they are they're doing very well. All right,
I want to talk
Bundesliga.
about the Bundesliga. Yeah, Bundesliga. So, wow, I think Bayern Munich is actually smashing everyone. They lost one game, actually. So Bayern Munich, they have 50 points. Dortmund 42. Offenheim 39 points. RB Leipzig 36 points. So it's very tight there. And in the bottom teams, we have St. Pauli 14 points and Heidensum. Sorry, I don't speak German. 13 points. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had no surprises there again. I'm just surprised by Leverkusen. Actually, they have been falling off pretty bad since Xabi Alonso left. He actually got fired from Real Madrid. I think maybe they should bring him back. But yeah, Bayern Munich, it looks like they're running away with it.
Yeah. But I think Bayern Munich are probably one of the best teams in Europe at the moment. They're comfortably at the top. And, Vincent Kompany continues to be doing a great job.
So, yep, really good job. Hey, Elliot, you want to talk about the last two leagues real quick that we almost forgot to talk about? Europa League, briefly. If you look at the table right now, Lyon is actually first, Aston Villa second. It doesn't really matter, as we both know. You have to make it to the next round. That's the most important. And then capping on the 8th spot, Roma. And we have Nottingham Forest that makes it to the next round technically, which is good for English teams. Lille. And the surprise here is Nice, and Rangers, I think, from Scotland. They haven't really done well. They are eliminated on the Europa League. I don't know if you want to add anything to this before we go to the Conference League.
I mean, I'd say RB Salzburg, they've been in the Champions League in the not too distant past. For them to not even qualify is maybe a little bit of a surprise, but otherwise, I think probably the stronger teams have all kind of finished in the top 8. I did actually end up I did watch Aston Villa's final match yesterday. They were 2-0 down, and they came back to win 3-2, which was a good match to watch.
That's awesome.
So I was keeping an eye on that one. Other than that, I don't really have much to say. The Europa League also has the playoff system where the teams in 9th to 24th will kind of go into the playoff round and qualify for the round of 16. But other than that, nothing really much more to add. You wanna talk about the Conference League?
Yeah, to talk about the Conference League real quick. So Strasbourg, they finished first. Really good job here, 16 points, solid. And then, I'm not really gonna try to pronounce most of those names. You remember what Chelsea was now thinking of, like, for Wi-Fi passwords?
That's Wi-Fi passwords, yeah.
But anyways, we have some notable teams like Rayo Vallecano, Shakhtar Donetsk. We also have Fiorentina that then went to the next round. And yeah, so I mean, there's nothing much to talk about. And Crystal Palace, obviously, they are the only English team in this league, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're going to the next round. They have to go to the playoffs, but they still go to the next round technically. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's about it, I think, with all the leagues.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I think we'll wrap up there for today. Obviously, still a lot more football to come this season. Be definitely excited to see how the UEFA playoffs play out. That'll probably be our main focus next time, where we'll kind of know a bit more about the Champions League round of 16. We can predict that, and we can talk about the playoff games, and yeah, lots more to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks
Thanks
to
for watching
everybody
and
that's
listening.
listening. Thanks for watching. We would love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to hear your comments. And see you next time. Thank you so much.
See you next time.
Take care.
Take care.